Hello everyone that is joining us today for the webinar. Thank you so much in advance for your time today. I am going to share the presentation now. Super excited for you all to be here. So today we've got about 45 minutes together, and it will be structured in the format of who, what, when, where and why. And within this webinar, you are going to learn who we are, details about the apprenticeship, and what you will gain from it. At the end, there will be a chance for you guys to ask your questions, so you can either put them in the chat throughout or wait until a box pops up at the end and you can put them in there. This session is being recorded for your future use, and the slides also will be sent out to you at the end. So feel free to take notes throughout or not, whatever works for you. Before we get started, we wanted to give you guys a chance to get to know us. So I will go first. I'm Holly Hobbs, and I'm going to be your host today for the webinar. I am the founding director of Apprentivia, and I create TikTok content to advertise apprenticeships online with employers just like British Gas. Over to Claire.
Hi, I'm Claire. I lead on our recruitment marketing here at British Gas and Centrica. So I'm responsible for things like this, making sure that we're getting our roles in front of the right people and reaching whole new audiences like we're hopefully doing today.
Hi, I'm Sarah, and I lead our volume recruitment team. So basically, it's the team that recruit for mainly British Gas, but also Centrica and all our customer-facing roles, whether it's a call centre agent, an engineer, or our apprentices. I'm really excited about this afternoon. Over to Tom.
Thanks, Sarah. Hi guys, my name's Tom. So I'm the lead recruiter on the early careers team here at British Gas, and I work with a team of brilliant recruiters, and they'll be looking after you throughout your journey. Over to you, Laura.
Hi, I'm Laura Devereux. I'm an emerging talent manager in the apprenticeship space, and I look after you when you all join the apprenticeship programme. Looking forward to the rest of the session.
Amazing. Thank you so much, guys. So now that you've got to know us, we want to get to know a little bit about you. So we have put a link in the chat. If you guys could all click on that link now, you've got 2 minutes to complete the questionnaire starting from now. We'll give you 2 minutes, and the link is in the chat for you guys to go complete. It's all anonymous, but it just means that we can get to know a bit about our audience today. The link will be here, and it's been posted by Kieran. I will repost it as well. Oh, you see it now. Can you guys hear things now, by the way? I noticed some of you said you can't hear. Right, you've got about a minute and a half. For those of you that are just joining now, that are new, we have put a link in the chat to a questionnaire that we'd like you just to fill out, just so we can get to know a bit about you, as you guys have just got to know a bit about us and who is hosting today. Thank you, guys. I can see a lot of the responses coming through now. If you haven't already done it, please just take a few seconds to do it. It's very, very short, and then we can start. Last little bit about this questionnaire. If you were just joining now, oh, brilliant, you're all putting done in the chat. Please just complete the questionnaire that is linked in the comments. It literally takes 2 seconds, just so we can get to know you guys. If you guys can't hear anything, maybe check your computer settings. because I think a lot of people can hear. Brilliant. Okay, so let's get started. So if you have already applied or you've checked out the job ad, you might have noticed that you've applied through the website called centrica.com, which is this logo here. So you might be thinking, who the hell is Centrica? Well, Centrica are a family of brands that are revolutionising a cleaner and greener future. They have about 20,000 employees worldwide. 7,000 of those are engineers, and in total, they've got about 10.3 million customers. They've also been ranked in Time's top 50 employers for women. One of their brands so happens to be British Gas, which you can see here. And British Gas then have their own brand, which you might recognise. Hive produces smart home products. Dyno is a 24-hour emergency response plumbing and drain specialist. And PH Jones provides social housing sector in the UK with installation and maintenance services. So essentially, Centrica is the parent brand. And Centrica also does have other brands under them, aside from British Gas. And you can also do your research on this on their website, which I highly suggest if you're going to be applying. So with these brands and industries, sometimes does come stereotypes. So here is who people think typically do British Gas apprenticeships. Someone who didn't get the grades or didn't get into university, someone who doesn't want a social life, males only, people that are only interested in manual labour, people who are happy to be paid little, and someone who isn't ambitious. But this is who actually does a British Gas apprenticeship. Anyone, no matter their grades, someone who wants a nice social life, because apprentices get paid so they can go out and do nice things in their free time. Anyone, no matter their gender, people who don't want to get messy, because believe it or not, these things aren't all about oil and gas nowadays. People who want to be paid well, and someone who is very ambitious, because they're, as we've identified at the start, a lot of progression, a lot of different job roles at Centrica and British Gas. So now you know a bit about who works with British Gas. What is the role in offer? Well, this is the role in offer. They're currently open for their smart metering apprenticeship scheme. Now, what is this scheme, I hear you say? Well, essentially, this is where you'll get taught how to install and maintain a customer's smart meter and to help them also maximise their energy efficiency. So you might have seen this device here in your family and friends' houses, right? This is actually an in-home display. So it's not the actual meter that you'll be fitting, but this is what a customer sees. And this essentially gives them real-time data, helping for a greener future and also helping to save on their energy bills. So you're having quite a lot of impact on people's lives with things like this. So what do you need to get into this scheme is what we're going to be speaking about next. But before we do that, I'm just going to briefly show you a video that we filmed before on what a day in the life of a smart meter apprentice looks like at British Gas.
Let us show you what we get up to in a day.
So after training at the British Gas Academy, we're then ready to go straight out onto patch serving for our first lot of customers.
We do 2 jobs a day, which we're given plenty of time for, as well as being supported by our mentor the entire way. The first thing we'll do is collect our stock, which are meters, and anything else we'll need. We'll get the job on our tablet, we'll then call the customer to let them know we're on our way. We'll then head over to the customer, check the job out. We'll then do the job as safely and efficiently as possible, as well as giving customers energy efficiency advice and paperwork at the end of the job. It's then time for lunch.
We are all a very tight-knit group here and everyone is always there to support. So straight after lunch we'll then head straight into our second job. We'll then have a debrief with our mentors at the end of the day to make sure that we are progressing as we should.
We usually finish around 4:30.
British Gas apprenticeships are open for anyone and their smart roles are now open for application, so hit the link in my bio to apply.
And there we go. I was just speaking about the webinar that you're actually on right now. Kudos to you guys. Right. Now we're going to speak about exactly what you need to get into this apprenticeship scheme. So you will need 4 GCSEs, and these GCSEs will include English and Maths at minimum grade 4/C or a recognised equivalent. You will need a full UK driver's licence with 6 points or less. 2 things to mention here. 1, unfortunately, you can't apply with a provisional. It does have to be a full UK driver's licence. And 2, an automatic licence is also fine. You will need a passion for learning a trade, striving for a successful career, and providing some great customer service. As I mentioned before, you'll be making an actual impact on people's lives. You'll be going into customers' homes. So you'll need this passion in order to achieve what you need to achieve on the apprenticeship and serve these customers amazingly. You will also need the ability to attend a training academy, and I will speak to you in a little bit about the locations of those and what that actually entails. You will also need to be able to pass a basic criminal record and a financial check. We'll speak about where that comes in the timeline in a second, and be able to distinguish between wire colours. Now, how they tell that you can do that is by you'll be able to pass a colourblind test before you begin your apprenticeship. But as I said, we will go through when that happens within the recruitment process. So now we are going to move on to the second part of the what section, and it is time for us to have a short panel session and hear from some apprentices / ex-apprentices themselves. So guys, if you could introduce yourself, starting with Katie.
Hi all, sorry, I am currently stuck at a job, so I'm in my van. So I'm Katie, I'm currently an apprentice. I am almost done, so I've got around about 3 weeks left until my EPA. So yeah, that's me.
Thank you. Rishi?
Hi, my name is Rishi. I'm a smart engineer, so I've done the apprenticeship, so hopefully I can give you guys some insight on what it entails, you know.
Amazing, thank you. And Dean?
Hi guys, I'm Dean. I'm pretty much the same as Rishi. I've been out on the field for a few years now, and again, hopefully I can help give a bit of better insight to what it's like once you're out there.
Thank you. Okay, so I think we should start with Rishi. So Rishi, you have featured in that video that we just played about what a day in the life looks like. Could you tell us how long you've been in your role for, firstly, and when you actually started the apprenticeship, when you qualified, etc.? Give us a bit of like a timeline, and then also what you enjoy most about your job.
So I started in 2022 at the end. I obviously in the initial stages, like you're in the academy for a bit, so I had that until sort of the new year in 2023 when I passed like a few exams and things and just slowly got the qualifications. I then was on patch from 2023, which is like actually out on the field, just doing the job as you would. And once you pass, I had like a lot of support with a mentor and things as well. And then sort of, since like halfway through 2023, I've just been like working on patch, and then eventually was fully qualified towards the end of 2023. And I've just been I've completed my apprenticeship and I've been like a fully qualified engineer since. So yeah, it's quite good. What I'd say about the job is that if you if it's a lot of like problem solving as well. So if you find like fulfillment out of like finding out what the issue is and like helping customers and just delivering like good customer service, I find that quite fulfilling. So if you'd enjoy that, then I think that's probably the job for you. You know, I like that aspect of it. So that's what I can say about that.
Amazing. Thank you, Rishi.
Sure.
Moving over to Katie. Katie, what would you say has been the most pivotal learning throughout your apprenticeship so far?
So I would say one is learning a whole new career. So I came from being a civil servant to doing this, and it was a major change to say the least, because I've never even picked up a drill or anything like that previously. And the hardest part for me as well is learning pipe work, because it's all about soldering, what fittings to use, etc. But I built up that learning by doing different courses online and going to the academies. And I was also challenged by my previous manager, Francesca, to do a pipework board for females in the field, which promotes all of the females who are current engineers in Smart and S&R. So yeah.
Amazing. Okay, that's really helpful. So that, I guess, shows that you don't need on-the-job experience. You don't need to know how to use all the equipment, etc. from your experience. Thank you so much for sharing that. And then Dean, on to you. What would your advice be to your younger self? So the people who are watching this call or the recording right now.
So I'd probably go with don't be afraid to speak up, or more really like asking questions. I've found personally from my experience is there's a lot of support out there, be it from the engineers you've got around you once you're out in the field or the people through the academy. If you're not fully understanding what you're learning, for example, during the academy, don't be afraid if you're one of the only people in the group who don't fully understand what you're learning, because you're all in the same boat and everyone's going to learn at your own different speeds. Mm-hmm. So you want to be confident in it at the very end of it all. But also for when it comes to being out in the field, no job is necessarily the same. You're always faced with many different scenarios and situations. So you're not always going to have the answer for absolutely everything. They're not going to expect you to know absolutely everything. There are things in place to support you for that. As long as you learn how to, reference, which you'll learn about down the line, then you'll be absolutely fine. So yeah, have a bit of confidence in what you're doing, but yeah, don't be afraid to reach out because the support is there.
Amazing. Thank you, Dean. Okay, so thank you so much to our panel. These guys will be around until the end of today's session. So when we have the Q&A section, feel free to ask them all your questions. But for now, we're going on to the next section, which is the when section. And as I spoke about before, I was going to address the timelines. So what is the timeline here? Whether you've just applied or you're thinking about applying or you haven't applied yet, this is what it looks like. So the first stage is obviously when the application's open and your application that you're going to submit. This also consists of an online mechanical reasoning test. And we have put the link to apply also in the comments. So if any of you haven't applied, you can go and do that after this webinar. There'll also be a link at the end of the presentation in case you don't want to go to that now. And later on, I'm going to hand over to the recruitment team and they are going to speak about this test and what that involves. The second stage is screening. So your application will be reviewed by a member of the recruitment team. And if you pass the online test, they'll be in touch. The third stage is the assessment centres. So for those of you that meet the criteria and have passed the previous processes and sections, etc., you will then go to one of the academies at an assessment centre and you will spend the day together doing group tasks, having an interview, things like that, which again we'll mention further into this webinar. And you'll be able to get your questions answered then as well and meet some of the recruitment team, which is always nice. Then if you pass that stage, you'll go on to the offer stage. So this is where if you don't get through, you'll also receive feedback on for future applications. And then when you get past that, these are when the background checks will start that I mentioned before. Things like your financial and criminal checks, and also they'll do things like the colourblind test as well. So now that you know the process, I'm going to briefly hand over to the recruitment team, who are going to provide you with some tips on how to navigate it. And you're definitely going to want to make some notes here. So over to the number one tip.
So the first tip is we don't actually require you to have any work experience to apply for an apprenticeship. So what we do want you to do, though, is show that you're customer focused. So if you don't have lots of work experience, tell us about things that show that you would be great with customers. So some good skills that can really showcase that are communication, problem solving, empathy, teamwork. You may want to write a good opening statement that shows you have these skills. And also tell us about any volunteering experiences you've had, hobbies, interests, sports clubs, another good one, or even things that you've done or achieved at school. And the final thing I would say is think quality, not quantity. So 1 or 2 pages of interesting facts about yourself that really showcase your skills and your abilities is usually enough.
Thanks, Tom.
So the second one is, please make sure that you don't miss out on an opportunity based on just a technicality. So once you've applied, keep an eye on your email spam folder. When we send out the test, quite often we hear from candidates that that's where it ends up, in your spam folder. So please keep an eye out and make sure you don't miss that because it's gone into your spam. And also, we know quite a lot of people now have settings on their phone which make sure their phone doesn't allow calls through where they don't recognise the number. Perhaps during this application process, it would be a good idea to remove that setting temporarily. If we do reach out to you with a call, then obviously you won't recognise our number, and we wouldn't want to struggle to get hold of you just because of that. So just think about those settings that you've got in place during the application process.
Thank you, Claire.
So the mechanical reasoning tests, what are these? So these are assessments often used for technical positions such as engineering roles, and they measure how candidates apply mechanical principles to solve problems. So the questions can include gears, electrical circuits or levers, and then tests include a series of images showing mechanical problems or scenarios for you to answer. What we would suggest is that when you do your application, that you do it in a quiet spot and you give enough time to complete the test. It doesn't take too long, but it is good to have your full focus on completing the test when you do it. Good luck.
Thanks, Laura.
And the last tip is do your research. So have a look on our website, have a look at different areas that you can pull as much information as possible about British Gas, about Centrica, and this will help if you get through when you go to the assessment centre, when you go to interview, and also help with your application overall. But yeah, good luck.
Thank you, Laura. That endpoint is very, very pinnacle, I would say. Okay, great. So, as I mentioned before, these guys will also be around at the end to answer all of your questions. So if you've got any questions off the back of that, please hold on to those or put them in the chat and we will answer them at the end. Okay, cool. So second to last, where is this scheme based? Now, all the vacancies are based across these locations here on the left. However, there are loads more on the website, and even if your location isn't specifically listed on here, feel free to apply if you feel like you're a good fit anyway, as there could be more locations that open up in the future. That's another really important part. And the training academies are here. So there's 4 locations, here what they are, but I'm going to explain a little bit about how these come into your journey in the next slide. So last but not least, what is in this for you? Now, you get the salary of £15,435, and this increases all throughout your apprenticeship, with the first increase after year 1 raising to £23,877. When you complete the apprenticeship, you'll be on £37,104 with bonus and add-ons on top of that. You also get a London living allowance ranging from 4,000 to 6,000 if you live or work within the M25. So that's a bit about the financial sort of stuff. The rest of it starts with, one, you get a free qualification. So British Gas are paying for your qualification, which is the NVQ Level 2 Dual Fuel Smart Meter Installer. You also get mentorship throughout the whole program. So in the day in the life video that you saw previously, Rishi was mentioning how he was out on patch and he was with his mentor. His mentor was on job with him. So you're not just put out on patch, left to do your own thing when you don't feel too confident, or you're just halfway through your training, for example. You have got support all the way throughout. In regards to the academies, you will be at one of the academies in blocks. So it's for a total of 17 weeks during the apprenticeship. And essentially, if you live more than 90 minutes away from your designated training location, British Gas will fund your hotel, breakfast and dinner for this. And also, British Gas will give you continuous investment in your development. So it doesn't just finish after this apprenticeship. They want to continue investing in you, and there will be opportunities to gain further qualifications. Also, if you guys want to find out more about the benefits, there is this video, which we will also link in the comments, that we filmed all about the different benefits. There are quite a few more that you get whilst working with British Gas. So click that link, which is in the comments below now, if you want to go and view those other benefits. And also, they are on the website as well. So before we move on to the Q&A, we wanted to find out what you've learned from this. So if you could please click the link that is going in the comments now, so that we can find out what you've learned from this and where we need to speak about in terms of the questions. That would be amazing. I'll give you 2 minutes and then we're going to move on to the Q&A section, where we're going to answer all of your questions and you guys can speak with the recruiters or the apprentices. Literally got 2 minutes. Thank you guys for submitting your responses. Just got a few more to come through. It's great to see your progress. Wow. A lot of you are understanding different things now compared to the start, which is great. Still got a few more of you to go compared to the sign up. So if you guys could quickly click that, it literally takes 2 seconds. And then we'll move on to the Q&A. If you've done that, we're also going to quickly put a Q&A form in the chat. So you guys can put all your questions in that if you have already filled out the form. And then we'll start answering them. Brilliant, we've got some questions here as well. Give you a few more seconds. Okay. So, Q&A link, by the way, guys, is now in the chat. So please feel free to add your questions in there if you want to keep it anonymous. Right, so I'm going to start by reading out some of the questions that I can see so far. Number 1, is there an age limit? Who would like to take that one?
Shall I? I'll take that one, Holly. There's absolutely no age limit. So as long as you've got a driving license and you're able to work and you meet the requirements, then yeah, please apply. Absolutely no age limit at all.
Excellent. Good to hear. Okay. There might be some questions that the team would get back to with a message just for you. But for the more generic ones, I will read out here. So how long would it take you to hear back if you were successful with the mechanical test?
I think that's probably one I should answer as well, Holly. So it's slightly more complicated because we have assessment centres going on right through till October, and some areas aren't recruiting till later in the year. So it might take a little while before you hear back, but we will email you, and we'll email you within 2 weeks to let you know whether you passed the test or not. So we'll just keep you updated as we go.
Excellent. Thank you, Tom. Another one, is the interview a competency-based interview? One thing before someone speaks about that, we've also done another video, guys, all about the tips for the assessment centre stage and the recruitment process. So I'm going to quickly drop the link to that as well in the comments so you guys can watch that after. But for now, is the interview a competency-based interview?
I'll take that one. So it's a very similar style to a competency base. So the techniques that you learn to do a competency based interview do definitely apply. But the questions you will be asked are linked to what our core capabilities are, but they are very much of the style of a competency based question.
Amazing. Okay, brilliant. Okay. Right, we've got about 16 questions in the box. Okay. What is the timeline from applying online to starting the apprenticeship?
Again.
Oh, Tom,
sorry,
I'll let you go.
Okay, fair enough. So again, just going back to what we were saying before, it really depends on when the start date is for your particular area. So we've got a very carefully laid out plan of inductions. And again, they go on till December, I think the last one is. So some people will be starting in September, some people in December. It really just depends on where you live and how many vacancies there are. But we'll keep you updated. When we speak to you, we'll also let you know when the start dates are as well and just make sure it works for you for things like holidays and things like that.
Amazing, thank you. What would sorry, you briefly touched on it earlier, but have you guys got any more tips for the mechanical reasoning test for anyone that's maybe just joining and the person that's asked the question?
Yep. So
No, you go, Sarah, you go.
No, I was just going to say, I mean, it's definitely worth, if you want to Google a bit more about what a mechanical reasoning test is, then there's lots of information out there on the internet. But the best tip I can give is just make sure that you're fully focused, you've got a quiet area to do the test and you're not disturbed. So rather than sort of being out and about, make sure you do it when you're at home or in a quiet place.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to build on that as well, take your time within the realms of the time limit that you get. So you do get 14 minutes to do it. Take that time up and use it. And you'll get asked questions like that. There'll be a series of cogs or a diagram with cogs on is one of the questions you get. And it might say, if that one turns that way, which way does this one turn? Follow it around with your finger. And again, take your time and you should do as well as you can.
Okay, we have got so many questions, so I'm going to keep bombarding you guys. Okay, so what are the working hours like? Maybe one of the apprentices could speak about this. Anyone wants to volunteer? Oh, thanks, Katie.
Yeah, that's all right. So working hours is 40 hours a week. I currently do 8 till 4:30, but I know my colleague Dean does 8 till 6 at 6:30, but has a day off, a rest day in the middle of the week. British Gas are really, really flexible. So I know a couple of people do, I think it's like 9 till 6 or 9 till 5:30. So yeah, it's really good. So especially if you've got children, I'm sure there'll be a way to work it out.
Excellent, thank you. Did you want to add something, Sarah?
No,
No, all
Katie's
good.
covered that really well. Yeah.
Cool. Next one. Are there any tools required when you start?
We provide everything for you. Your uniform, your tools, absolutely everything you need to do the job. We just ask you to turn up on day one and you get everything in your first week, including your van and a fuel card. There is a driving assessment, so you are introduced to driving a van. If you've not driven one before, you will go on a driving assessment first before they hand you your keys. But yeah, we just need you to turn up on day one and we give you everything else.
Amazing. Someone has asked, how come you need a full UK driver's license with this apprenticeship?
Because we give you a van in your first week. And you need your van to get to and from the training locations, but also to your customers' jobs when you're out in the field.
Brilliant. Thank you. Someone said, how long will it take to receive the mechanical exam results?
I think we touched on that earlier, but within a couple of weeks you will hear back from us, and we'll let you know. And we'll let you know very quickly if you don't pass it. We'll send you a message just to let you know. One thing we do encourage as well is people to reapply for roles in future. So we'd love to hear back from you if you don't quite pass the test the first time round.
Excellent.
Can I just add something onto the mechanical test? So I have dyslexia and there is an accessibility tool. So if you do have anything like that, you're able to change it. So I've changed mine to have a yellow background and for it to be read out loud to me. So if you do have anything like dyslexia, there is a way to help as well.
Thank you, Katie. Okay, next questions. What technical skills will I be learning on the apprenticeship?
I can take that. So with the apprenticeship, you'll be in one of the academies and you'll be learning from day dot, pipe work, wiring, getting hands on with boilers, getting into the smart meters before we put you out into customers' homes. Do one of the apprentices want to add on to that about what you've learned in the academies before going out on patch?
I don't mind jumping on since I'm currently still since I'm currently still obviously under the academy. So the first obviously 2 weeks you're pretty much learning the job but also revising for your first electrical exam from a COPA. Sorry, what was the rest of the question?
What technical skills did you gain?
Everything. So cable cutting, obviously pipe work, even some basic level skills of using a drill, leveling out, and just how it all works from the inside as well, how the cutout works for the electrical side, how to use a U-gauge, so absolutely everything, and it's like second nature. It will stick into your brain as well.
Brilliant. Thank you, Katie. Another question. How much work is there to do? So how many jobs would you get on a typical day? One of the apprentices, maybe anyone other than Katie?
I'll chime in for this one.
Thank you.
So typically, it depends on your working hours really, but typically people will be working the 8 till 4:30 shift. You're expected, once you're fully qualified and out there on 100% workload, to complete 6 ops, which is typically 3 joules, unless I remember that incorrectly.
Dean, can I stop you there for 1 second? What do those words mean for people that maybe have never heard of that before?
So joules, if you go to a customer's property and they have a gas and electric account with us, then you're going to be changing both of their meters. So when you're out in the field, they classify that as a joule. You will have singles, so that'll either be doing just the electric or just the gas. So you will come across them jobs as well, but that's what you're typically aiming for.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you. Another question. What responsibilities will we gain over time and can it lead into other areas?
I can I can take that one.
Go on then, Tom.
So in terms of responsibilities, I mean, probably one of the apprentices could maybe answer that particular question, but in terms of what it can lead to, there are people that will progress into other things. So we have opportunities in management, people cross-skill as well. So some of our engineers eventually will go into gas service and repair. We might have people that go into the renewable side of things. So installing electric vehicle chargers, potentially heat pump wiring. There's lots of opportunities. And bearing in mind that British Gas and Centrica is a massive company with tons and tons of opportunities for you as well. So, yeah.
Does any of the apprentices want to answer what responsibilities you'll gain over time?
Customer care, really. So obviously you're in and out of customers' homes, and so you will take on that whole responsibility of making sure that you've done the job absolutely 100%. Not only that, because on the first week where you're out on patch, you will have anxiety thinking, have I done this? Have I done that? You will second guess yourself. But once you get confident, the responsibility of, right, I've done everything for that customer, they're happy with us, because you will go to customers who are a little bit grumpy with us, and so you've got to try and turn them around thinking, no, actually, we are doing our job, we can do it. And so, yeah.
Thank you. Okay, another question is, what if you didn't pass your maths exam, but you passed your English exam? Can anything be done there?
Yep, I can take that one. So if you haven't got English and maths at GCSE, or you've got one or the other, you'll be put through functional skills in your apprenticeship. You must pass functional skills to pass your apprenticeship. So you will do that alongside your studying as well.
Brilliant. Someone said, do I need a manual license or can I apply with automatic? I can answer that one. You can apply with automatic, yes. Just reading down now. Someone said, when will the apprenticeship start for people who live in North London? I think Tom sort of mentioned it's really different, isn't it, Tom? There's not like one answer.
Yeah. We've got various start dates for London, but again, we'll talk to you about that specifically if we do have a conversation with you further down the line.
Amazing. Will the telephone interview be competency or on the assessment day? So what's the difference between those types of interviews?
So the telephone interview itself it's more of us just checking with you that you meet our minimum requirements. So we're going to be having a conversation with you about things like, have you got a driving license? Have you got points on the license, criminal record, things like that. We will ask a question as well, which is a mini interview question, which is about what's motivated you to apply for the role. So it's always good just to have a little think about that beforehand as well. Just think about why you're actually applying for it, why you think you're a good candidate. Try and think a little bit outside of the box as well, is what I would say. So lots of people will say, I want to work for British Gas because it's a big company with lots of opportunities, but try and demonstrate a little bit of passion for the things that we're passionate about. So things like looking after our people, the planet, sustainability, all those things are really good things to really bring out in that conversation that we have.
Mm-hmm. Someone's asked, is there weekend working?
Yep, I can cover that one. So, Katie, do you want to, I saw you were...
No, you do it, you can go.
I was just going to say, so once, yes, not as an apprentice, but once you are out there and fully qualified and completed your apprenticeship, there is a requirement to cover some weekends.
Okay, brilliant. Can I join this apprenticeship if I've done a different apprenticeship for a different company?
With that one, as long as you've completed the apprenticeship and you're not still on the same apprenticeship, you can still apply. Amazing. As long as it's not the same apprenticeship as well.
Mm-hmm. Can you qualify from the apprenticeship earlier than the rest of the cohort, I'm guessing?
So this very much depends on the individual. Obviously, there are set weeks where you are at the academy and set weeks where you will be doing certain things on your field experience. Once you've finished your time at the academy and you're out there, everyone obviously progresses slightly differently. Some it may take a bit longer than others, but this is where you really are in charge of your own destiny. And if you really pick it up and do well, then yes, you can progress to being fully qualified smart engineer quicker than others.
Amazing, thanks for that. Relating to that, how long does it take to finish the apprenticeship?
It does very much depend on the individual. Like I say, there is a set time period where you're at the academy and you're getting your field experience. But once you finish that, you'll go into your support and monitoring and aftercare, which is where the mentors really come into play. And then that is very much down to you as to how quickly you progress.
Excellent.
Katie, just on that, sorry, Holly. Katie, on that, you said you've got your endpoint assessment in 3 weeks. How long's it taken you to get there?
God, so I started on the 14th of August 2023, so probably around about 52 weeks, I would say. So yeah, it's not been that bad.
Nice. Okay, so we've got another question here. How many smart meters are there left to fit in the UK? So does this mean the job will end when everyone has a smart meter? Sorry for confusion. Don't be sorry, that's fine. We can answer.
That's a really good question, and one that, you know, we do recognise that. So there's still many millions of smart meters to fit in the UK. The exact number, unfortunately, I don't have to hand, but there's not just about fitting the smart meters. There's obviously maintaining them and then fitting new ones. So perhaps some of the earlier generation smart meters need replacing. But there's also, as we've talked about, career pathways within our organisation, whether that's going into the net zero space, going into management, or even coming out of the field. We see people that have been sort of in engineering roles moving into analyst roles or call centre roles. So there's lots of opportunity for you once you join Centrica.
That's what we like to hear. Okay, one of the last questions that I'll say. What sort of things do we do at the assessment centre day?
So the assessment centre day, you'll be required to attend either a morning or an afternoon session. You'll meet Jack Johnson, who's our assessment centre lead. Unfortunately, he couldn't join us today, but if you've watched the TikTok video, you'll recognise Jack. If you haven't watched it yet, I would definitely say watch it for some hints and tips. You'll be asked to do 2 elements. That's the interview, which is our competency style capability interview. And you'll then be asked to complete some practical exercises. So there's 2 practical exercises that you will be asked to complete, and you'll do this in a small group. There'll be 3 or 4 of you doing it at the same time. And then you'll get a presentation, some more information about the role. You'll meet some of the managers and mentors, and you'll be able to ask all your questions to them about what it's really like to be a smart engineer with us.
Lovely, thank you. 2 more questions, hopefully, unless any others come in. When you say hotel, breakfast and dinner is included, if you're 90 minutes away from an academy, is that 90 minutes by train or car?
By car.
By car, yeah. You'll use your van to commute to the assessment, to the academy on a daily basis if you live within 90 minutes, if not at the weekend.
Excellent. And I want to say last one. So someone said that they passed the online test and it says that you guys are checking CV. They've asked, what does this mean? What are you checking for on the CV?
So I suppose going back to my point earlier about not requiring work experience, it's really those elements we're looking at. So we're looking for people that have demonstrated that they have customer focus and that they're all about customer solutions. So we're essentially grading people based on the CV and the content, and we'll also look at the mechanical reasoning score, and then we'll decide who we would then want to take to the next stage, which is the phone interview.
Excellent. Thank you, guys. Unfortunately, we have overrun the 45 minutes. So unfortunately, I haven't had a chance to ask every single person's question. If you guys have a question that's been unanswered, recruitment team, where can they go to get their questions answered from you guys?
I think so. We do have an inbox, so you can send a message into our inbox if you would like. It's newcareers@britishgas.co.uk.
There's also lots of information. We have a apprentice landing page on our website, which is centrica.com/careers. Lots of information, more videos for you to watch and read up on the website. So please go and visit that. You'll also then be able to apply for the position via that website as well.
Amazing. There we go. The website has just been put in the chat as well by Claire and Laura. Thank you, guys. Brilliant. So yes, this is the end of the webinar. Unfortunately, we have come to an end now. I hope this has helped you guys. I've seen from the survey that a lot of you now understand all the different points that we've walked through today compared to at the start. So that's great. As I mentioned, and the team has mentioned, if you've got any other questions, please feel free to go to the website first of all to see if you can get your questions answered, or email British Gas, and the email is linked in the comments. Please let us know your feedback as well in the comments before you drop off. Drop us a little note. We would love to hear what you think. And best of luck for submitting your applications or going through the process if you're already in it ready. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Ollie.
Good luck.
Bye.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.